Watch Megyn Kelly tell an inspiring, heartfelt, and deep story about now Vice President JD Vance. Guys, I can't believe I'm saying this. It's a little bit crazy. President Trump and Vice President JD Vance. Can you believe it? I don't know about you all, but it hasn't fully set in for me yet, but man, oh man, it is a beautiful thing. And thank God we do not have to say President Harris. Oh, that would be terrible for more reasons than one. With all that being said, everybody, we're gonna get right into the show and it's gonna be a lot of fun. But first, do me a big favor here, like our video and share it around so we can keep bringing you guys this great hard-hitting content. As always, my friends, I'm your host, Darian, and this is Resist the Mainstream.
James David Vance, do solemnly swear.
I, James David Vance, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
That I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same.
and allegiance to the same,
That I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation.
without any mental reservation.
Okay, that was my favorite moment of the whole thing. Yes, Mirabelle was adorable, but what I loved about that was a couple things. But number one, it was his mom. His mom, Beverly, who just hit 10 years clean from her heroin addiction. And I got to tell you, like, this actually kind of makes me kind of emotional, but like the way she looks kind of reminds me of my sister, you know, who was also an addict, recovering like Beverly, but, you know, like a little weathered, like beautiful, but a little weathered. You can tell this person's not had the easiest life. And look at her, you guys. It's so sweet. She's there seeing her son sworn in as the vice president. Like,
It's really inspiring to see how far Vance has come, you know, whether you like him or not. I just think it's not really debatable. If you look at his book and also a movie by the same name, Hillbilly Elegy, the guy has been through a lot. And frankly, it's a miracle that him and his mother are on good terms now. And I don't say that to disparage, by the way. I'm very happy to see it. Family is arguably more important than anything. I bring this up because there was a really difficult time. JD Vance grew up in a torturous household with her. You know, there were times where essentially she threatened to end the life of her own son. It's crazy. You know, I don't want to say too much because Megyn Kelly's going to go into it, but check this out, guys.
if you know his story, and I know it's, you know, well now, but like, he suffered, you know, he suffered so mightily. His dad abandoned them. His mom had man after man in the house. His mom had a history of abuse. And he writes all about the time she drove him 90 miles an hour in a car and threatened to kill them both. And he was terrified and the police came. He heard a lot of domestic violence in the house. He never knew what pajamas were. He slept in blue jeans, as he said, most hillbilly kids did, most of their upbringing. He had Pepsi in his baby bottle. So he had a weight problem most of his life. He still struggles with it. Absolutely no signs that something wonderful would happen in his life. None whatsoever. And he had the blessing of some strong women around him. His mama, chief among them, who became a national figure when he wrote Hillbilly Elegy. His sister, Lindsay, with whom he has a very close, loving relationship. She's 5 years older. Amy Chua, professor at Yale Law School, who really is one of the reasons he is up there today. She saw him as something special and helped him, encourage him to write that book, which changed everything. Usha, who he met at Yale Law School. And inside this abusive environment was a really smart, gifted kid. And Mama saw it. She kicked his ass. She was merciless on him. She made him work hard and keep his marks up and so on. And he wound up using the military to go to college. He went to Ohio State and he did really well. Like, he crushed Ohio State in 2 years with a double major. And the next thing you knew, he was like, you know what the hell? He applied to Yale Law School and got in. And that, I'm sure, was the biggest game changer of his life, you know, getting into Yale Law School.
And he served.
He served as a Marine.
Yeah, Megyn just said that he served. Anyways, I suspect that the reason why the left went after him so hard back when he made those comments about, you know, we don't want childless women running our government, it's because JD Vance was, while not the product of a childless woman, he was the product of a single woman, which Kamala Harris basically is. Let's be real. She just married her husband for political convenience. I'm just saying. The point is, JD Vance is an example of somebody coming from a broken home. And while he did ultimately succeed and do very well in life, and that just shows how remarkable of a person he is, frankly, he still does not hesitate to expose just how bad it can be to be in that kind of broken household that does not represent a cohesive family unit. So again, that's just my opinion, but I do think there's something to that.
For 5 years, I think it was. And like to see him up there and to see his loving mother, who I'm sure this is by far the greatest accomplishment she's seen in her own life. I mean, her daughter Lindsay's great too, but this is remarkable. Be alive for it, like be able to take it in, because JD Vance is young. JD Vance just turned 40 a few months ago, which is why he has toddlers up there with him. And that's another piece of the wonderful moment, which is we're going to have him for, God willing, decades to come. And if all goes well, he could be the person to whom Trump passes the baton in 4 years to keep this whole thing going. So anyway, for me, by far, number one moment.
There's another aspect of that. I looked at it and saw something different, which is interesting, but there were a lot of storylines colliding in that moment, which is that he chose Brett Kavanaugh, Supreme Court Justice, to administer the oath to him. And his wife, Usha, clerked for Kavanaugh, I believe on the D.C. circuit, and then she clerked for John Roberts. So she was the clerk to the two guys who were up there administering the oaths of office. And I had a conversation with JD way back when, before he ran for any kind of office, who relayed the impact that Kavanaugh's ordeal had on him and sort of the way he saw things.
What she said here is really interesting, because a lot of these people are a lot more connected than people realize. Of course, you just heard that Kavanaugh example. Did you know that JD Vance and Vivek Ramaswamy went to Yale Law School together around the same time? Not only that, but they're good friends, and JD has a son. Guess his name. It's Vivek. It's a big club. Now, take that info what you will. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just think that's very interesting, and it's not very talked about very often, so thought I ought to mention it. By the way, everybody, if you're enjoying this video, please be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. If you didn't know about the Vivek thing, please hit that subscribe button. I thought it was kind of interesting. So humor me. Thank you, guys.
Well, Trump played a big role in sticking by Kavanaugh and getting him elected to the court. And Kavanaugh is also a longtime friend of Amy Chua's at Yale. And her daughter, I believe, also clerked for him. So he's sort of a central figure in all of this. And it was really nice to see him up there sort of tying it all together.
Totally agree. No, I thought the same thing. And I thought both of those guys have come under serious fire from leftists who are out to ruin them. JD, there was a period where even the Republican Party was saying he's not going to make it, that they're going to pull him after Trump named him, that he wasn't going to survive childless cat lady. And by the way, for the record, I said from the beginning, you people are fools. That is not going to happen. Right. He will remain the nominee. And Trump stood by him too. Trump did not waver on JD. He did not waver on Brett Kavanaugh. And so there was a poetic justice to Kavanaugh being the one to administer the oath to JD today.
And thank God Trump didn't waver on JD or Kavanaugh, and there was no reason to, frankly. This is where the people on the right, or, who are supposedly on our side, really piss me off, because they have no spine. They're always like bending and yielding to the will of the left. Oh, we got to make sure the Democrats like us. No, when has that ever worked out? I'm so sick of hearing this. Give you an example of a prominent person who was going and counter-signaling the Brett Kavanaugh thing back in the day. Jordan Peterson, all right? And I love the guy, all right? He's done a lot of great things. He's great at giving great advice about young men and how to lead their lives. Okay, I'm not dismissing any of that. Peterson said that if confirmed, Brett Kavanaugh should step down. And he talked about how it'd be better for the country and, healing the country and all this stuff. No, you know what? Screw that, okay? You think the Democrats would do that? Honestly, and I'm not saying we should base our morality on what Democrats do, but the point is, even if their person is like, a pedo, they'll defend them, for God's sakes. In the case of Brett Kavanaugh, all of these allegations against him were complete bullshit. Yet we had all these Republicans saying, well, Christine Blasey Ford's testimony is corroborated. No, it wasn't. They fell hook, line, and sinker for the leftist lies in the media, and shame on them. Bunch of fools. Well, guys, that wraps up our clip for today. What'd you think? We really appreciate you tuning in. Please be sure to comment below. Let us know what you like about the clip, what kind of stuff you want to see in the future, and subscribe. And we'll see you all again soon. God bless.